Hey everybody, Jason Burmis here. We've got another great episode of Mixed Martial Mindset with my boy John Fitch. John, how are we?
I'm pretty good, feeling good. Weight's good.
Looking to do some Fitch smashing in less than 2 weeks now, right?
Yep. I leave a week from today. I will be headed towards Connecticut, towards the East Coast, to be fighting again.
And what do they got you out there? 3 days ahead of time to do some promos, and then a day ahead of time for the weigh-ins? What are you getting there Wednesday?
No, we get in on Monday because they want to. Well, tomorrow, first off, I have my first round of COVID testing.
Okay.
So they sent a package to us, and then they have a doctor who's going to walk us through an appointment online, tell us what to do. We ship that out, and then I get in Monday to Connecticut, and we will go through the initial screening to get in through the first ring of quarantine for the event. Mm-hmm. And we'll get tested on Monday and then locked into rooms for the rest of the week. The next test will be on Friday, the morning before weigh-ins. So weigh-ins are going to be like at 9:30. We'll have to get up and get our testing done before that, which is going to play a role and have an effect on weight cutting because you're going to have to deal with that extra hour in there where you're not going to get a cut weight and whatever the process that is for making weight. And it's also going to force you to kind of hold that weight a little bit longer because you're going to have to kind of make the weight, do the testing an hour ahead of time, and then you can go and get on the scale. So there's going to be a little bit extra time of being on weight. Because of that. So that might be affecting people. I don't know. And then I think there's one more test day of the fight. I think we have 3 total tests.
And I would assume, again, this is at welterweight, that Monday when you get there, heaviest you're going to be is what, 185, 182? What are you going to be?
Yeah, I think when I get in on Monday, I think the last couple fights with the new diet and everything, I've been about 178 to 182.
Okay, so you'll be right in there. You pretty much drop 8 to 10 pounds.
Pretty close. Yeah. I've put on some muscle, so I'm assuming I'm going to be a little bit bigger.
Okay, well I am looking forward to it. And guys, if you don't know, it's almost our 1 year anniversary. I'm not sure where we're exactly at, but I think we got 1 more or 2 more weeks. I want to remind everybody. You get the audio version of this after the fact over at thegruelingtruth.com, and you can find everything John Fitch over at johnfitch.net. And you've been doing some seminars. You've got your book on there. What's been going on with John Fitch outside of the cage?
Yeah, man. So a lot of podcasts, seminars. I got the books. I've got courses on Gumroad. I have a kids wrestling course, and I have a neck care guide. I also have a resistance band course. I'm hoping to have up later this week or at least next week, right? So a lot of training stuff, a lot of things to look at, and I've got seminars. People can book me for the seminars. I just did a quick trip out to Indiana where I was training, but I also had time and I did seminars. It was good. It's a good time.
I drove through Indiana. It was brief on my way through. What does it feel like there compared to California? Because it really is night and day for me from being in upstate New York and over in Illinois. What's it like for you from California?
There is a marked contrast between, what you would think of as traditionally liberal-minded and conservative-minded people. Okay, so where I went in Indiana was in Lafayette, West Lafayette, where pre-university is. And I went on campus on Sunday. So the rest of the week I was with regular people, working people, conservative, more or less people, church-going people. And most of them did not wear masks. We had seminars. They were going about the business. They really weren't even talking about anything going on. They had their own lives going on. It's like they weren't paying attention to anything. They were just doing what they had to do to live. And they're still fishing and taking care of their families and going to the gym and still working out and no masks. Like people walking up to the seminar, I didn't see anybody wearing masks. People would have masks in their hands. Like there's a taco place next door. I noticed people walking And I went to two different cities too. I went to Rochester too, which is an hour away, and did a seminar. And same thing there. People, if they were walking to a restaurant to get food, they'd have a mask in their hand and they'd put it on as they went in, and they'd get their food and they'd take it off. So there's like compliance around the restaurant thing like that. But like, people aren't even really wearing their masks correctly. But
yeah, go ahead.
So it's like they're just wearing them because, whatever, they're being compliant. But like if they're down past their chin or not really covering their nose or whatever, like it's just they have it, so it's good enough. But then you have campus, which is students and very liberal-minded people, and everybody has a mask on. All the bars are shut down. Most stores are shut down. There's some restaurants open. They're walking outside in 90-degree temperatures and weather with their masks on, sweating, and it seemed odd. Like there was like I think there's a rule on campus that you get on trouble, and that would be one of the reasons is they're just being compliant with that. But it seems like they're way more into that, and just the attitude in general. I had my camera and I was recording some stuff, and me and Mo were doing some walk and talk type stuff, and like people, they're so sensitive and just weak. There's so many weak people out there, like just like emotionally hurt because you have a camera. I mean, like, so some guy was asking like really passive aggressive questions. It's like, what are you recording for? Like type of stuff. And then, I'm just like, oh, happy. And, oh yeah, man, I got YouTube, I'm a fighter. And then, just make some content. I used to go to school here and then asked him some question. He's like had an attitude of like, how dare you ask me questions? I'm like, dude, you just fucking you tried to write a book about like what the fuck I'm doing legally recording a fucking campus that I went to school at. And now I asked you one or two questions and you kind of like are offended. And I'm just so sick of the whole attitude. It's just gross.
And the thing is, that's the same kind of person that's going to tell you when you go, you don't like the surveillance of the government. It's going to go, well, if you're not doing anything, well, what do you care? And that's the craziness.
Yes.
You're being,
and that's my exact thought was we're outside of a campus building. There was an apartment building across the street. There was stores, whatever. I was like, there's at least 6 cameras on us right now. Like, there's no way. There's no possible way there's any less number than 6 cameras recording every move we're doing right now. But like, I'm the problem. But I'm the problem because I'm an American citizen in a public space where things are there and open, probably because I paid money to the school and tax money that I probably paid at some point went to the school to use for stuff too. But like, I'm not allowed to record when I want to, but like, the surveillance state can record whatever the fuck they want. I just like, there's just a disconnect. They live in a fantasy land. It's so weird.
No, I'm seeing it all over the place. And like you said, every time I walk downtown now, I've got my little, selfie stick and I'm doing my walk and talks. And it's, like you said, it's 90 degrees out and you got 3/4 of your face covered up. Like that's somehow helping when there has not been an outbreak. Listen, now let's go through it for a second. Every mass gathering of people they've said was going to cause an outbreak, they haven't been able to document one. The Portland protest riots, whatever you want to call them, have been going on for several months. No outbreak, John.
Even any of the peaceful things that have happened with BML and whatever. Like where are those incidences of sickness people? There are protests in like Berlin and other places in the world where there's thousands of people, tens of thousands of people congregated in one place. They're not wearing masks. Like, are they gonna die in 2 weeks?
Well, let me one up you. Okay, 2 weeks ago now. It's now been 2 weeks, John. Sturgis happened. That's 250,000 people that went to South Dakota, and I kept saying
250,000 people. It wasn't even in the news at all. I had no idea that happened.
Yes, so I actually played video of what was going on in Sturgis. Nobody wearing a mask, nobody social distancing, everybody living their lives. I said, you watch. In 2 weeks, when there's not an outbreak, there will be total silence. And everybody was going, well, we'll see, Jason. We'll see. There wasn't an outbreak. John, the Chainsmokers concert in the Hamptons that clearly had thousands of people, there wasn't an outbreak after that. There are none of these outbreaks, and yet we're still LARPing across the board. And now, John, we may now be the hot spot in America here in SUNY Oneonta. So let me take people through the timeline. When I came back they said that they had an outbreak. Some of them had symptoms, so they started testing people that were at parties. And they got 29 positives. So that 29 positives, as of yesterday, became 105 positives after they tested 3,000 kids. Now, they were able to do this, John, in under 48 hours to test these 3,000 kids. Now, get this. None of these kids were tested to come back. Now they let all these kids come from New York City and Long Island without testing, right? There's a private college that has 2,000 kids literally right next to it, John. They all had to test, okay? All had to test negative to come. So they all tested. So now, as of yesterday, they had 100 plus cases. And guess what? They're sending a COVID SWAT team to my town. They're calling it a COVID SWAT team. 70 contact tracers and three separate zones that they're going to set up testing for the entire town. I'm obviously going to be filming this and telling them to get the fuck away from me if they get near me. Now, as of an hour ago, all right, literally 58 minutes ago, we now have an update of 304 confirmed cases, 0 hospitalizations. So what are we doing? What don't we understand? If we test,
have you seen the new CDC report?
Yeah, let's talk about it because
let's talk about that.
Yeah,
like, and then people are trying to argue about it, and it's silly because they argue the point.
The bottom line is, John, even without that,
unless you have a comorbidity or are super old, basically, if you're not super sick and weak, you're okay.
Well, 99.99% of the time, for sure. You're absolutely right.
Yes.
So we already know right now it has a 0.6% mortality rate that is probably lower, and we have to say that just because of the World Health Organization. They constantly lie to us. The headline, you know what? I'm going to play it. We do it live here, folks. Thumbs the video up, subscribe, and share. We do it mother trucking live. So I want to bring up this point right here that we just disproved what this guy's about to say.
8 months.
Okay? Where is it? I want him to go here. That, where is it? Right here. Total lie.
Explosive outbreaks linked to gatherings of people at stadiums, nightclubs, places of worship, and in other crowds.
No, there have been no deadly outbreaks. That's the thing. This is now becoming a case-demic where they are testing, and they already know the tests are faulty. That's being out there. Take a look at this. You look at the numbers from Sweden. We did this one yesterday. Again, they never locked down 57 per 100,000. Okay? Spain had bigger numbers at 62. Belgium had bigger numbers at 87. Britain had bigger numbers at 62. And Italy had bigger numbers at 58. They're not even talking about herd immunity. Although I'll say this. Today, Trump's new guy, the new Fauci, he did talk about herd immunity. So it's time to get into reality here. They're about to try to shut down New York again. You can tell that they're going to do this throughout SUNY schools. They're going to say there's got to be now mandatory testing across the SUNY thing, and they're going to instill fear. Wait, listen, man, they haven't even set up the testing here in town. So many people are old and brainwashed and liberal here, John. They're going to pop another 200 of these fucking people and put them into panic mode. I'm a small community, 70 contact tracers. They're going to be in everybody's business. This is it. This is the beta test for Middle America, and I can't believe it's in my little town. In other news, hopefully I'm getting my house that I saw. I just paid the application fee. My sister's coming. If everything goes well, I'll be out of here by October 1st, no matter what, in a new place with a nice little backyard and people that aren't completely brainwashed. Oh.
It's weird because even people who aren't completely brainwashed still have this tendency to want to believe these authority figures that have no reason to have authority. There's no reason that these people are above you in authority other than they're on TV. And somebody put them in a suit and said, hey, this person's important and you should listen to him. Why do we believe these people? Oh, because they're experts. Why is he an expert? Who did he get his degree from? What authorized him as an expert? You could be an expert in flat earth. You could be an expert in some other imaginary bullshit. But what is that helping anybody? What if the entire scientific basis with here they're basing all their shit on is bullshit. And like, he's the expert and we're going to listen to these people. I don't get it. I don't understand the trust in the media after, I mean, I didn't trust them before. And then weapons of mass destruction happened. And then everything else that's happened has happened and continues to happen. And people are still like, oh, well, the news said this. And I'm like, what the fuck are you doing listening to these people for any reason at all? They have zero, they didn't sign a Hippocratic oath. There's no punishment for when they're wrong. Like, nothing happens to them. Wolf Blitzer just keeps shoving this bullshit down your throat all over year after year, decade after decade. Zero accountability at all. He can say whatever goofy bullshit he wants to. CNN can say whatever the fuck they want to. Even Fox News can say whatever the fuck they want to. No reprimand. Nothing happens. People don't stop watching. People still believe them. Sponsors still give them money. What's going on, people? Like, if somebody burns me with a hot poker once, they're not getting around me ever again. Ever. I'm not gonna be able, oh well, he is an expert. Maybe that hot thing is gonna do something good for me this time. Wait
a minute, John. Don't you have that great story where you got that crazy medicinal treatment with those hot stones that you were telling me about?
Well, hey man. If something works, it works. But like, if you keep believing stuff that doesn't work, like if I went to that guy, he did all that crazy stuff, it didn't work, and I kept going back to him. That's a problem.
No, listen. I was just busting your balls. I thought that was a great rant, and you're 100% fucking right, man. That's the point. I mean, these people.
I mean, and like, it's not just like plebs that like are dummies and want communism or whatever. It's like my good friends who are smart people. I think human nature is so desperate for comfort and knowing what's going to happen or what's happening that they just fall into this. I'm just going to listen to authority because they know better.
John, I think you're fucking hitting it on the head. You know what you need to do? You need to come on a Union of the Unwanted broadcast. I'm sure they'd love to have you on. Have you seen those that I've been putting up? So basically, every other Monday after I do this show, a guy named Ricky Verandas, who has the Ripple Effect podcast, he gets a bunch of these guys together, and it's everybody from like James Corbett to Lucas showed up to Sigurdsson to Del Bigtree was there 2 weeks ago after he'd been banned. You name it in alternative media. Militich comes on every once in a while, Jeffrey Wilson, etc. And we all get together and we kind of talk about this because it is an issue. Because like you just said, it's if you're playing team baseball, it's not just the liberals that are falling for it. Okay, yeah. It's both sides, and they keep shoveling this shit into. Well,
there are more independents than there are Democrats and Republicans. You know what I mean? Like most of the people I deal with, they're independent people. They don't identify with any one group. Mm-hmm. I do have friends that are hardcore liberals, and people who are hardcore conservatives too. But like, for the mass majority of a lot of my friends, they're similar in mind as far as like they know better to like throw everything in with a group. Like that group isn't going to always represent you. You need to have some individualism.
Again, I'm 100% with you. You need more than just some individualism. You need to accept that you could be wrong and actually listen to the person.
I operate under the premise that I don't know shit and I'm probably wrong about everything. But so is everybody else.
Well, here's the thing. Why is the conversation always about this? Why is it always I got to come up on top and have the last word in that gotcha moment? It's
survival. It's survival. It's because our caveman selves, our lizard brain is still there, and it wants to be sure. It wants to know. It wants to know safety. It has to know and be right because that's survival. That you're alive. If you understand and know the world around you, you know where to get food, you know where to get water, you know where to have shelter, you know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Like I think that's where that comes from. Like, but we'll die over being right.
Here's my thing. Here's my problem with that. Like I find that like true survival is obviously ignorance.
You gotta adapt to the environment.
Well, everybody always goes, well, man, if that's the case, I don't even want to think about it. There's that cognitive dissonance, and that's dangerous because obviously we've seen where that's led large groups of people that didn't push back enough or push back too late or too weak and failed. I mean, there's a reason China's system exists and there's 1.2 billion people there. That's and we can say that, John. I don't think that we can fully absorb it and live it unless you're amongst it. But there are so many people out there that it goes into their head and they have literally no comprehension of what that means. Or you can point to, well, you know, in Africa, apartheid was a practice in my childhood. And, you know, racism still does go on there. And now you have the reverse racism and the reaction to apartheid where you actually have white farmers being killed. You know, these are real power struggles that are going on today that actually happen that we've never seen. And now we're getting small, very odd doses of it, right, in this country. We're getting the riots, but all while this weird lockdown and authoritarianism is going on. And the facts aren't the facts. And
it's, well, you know, I think, man, you want, okay, conspiracy time.
Go for it. Let's go, Fitch.
This is a elaborate plan by the globalists, okay, because they lock everybody down to make sure everybody's at home and frustrated. Then they give everybody money so that they can live and survive and do whatever they want without going to work and have a job. That gives them the opportunity to protest. If the government wasn't sending out checks, like, I don't know if any of these people could go out and do what they're doing. Like, how do they survive?
No, I think it's even more than that. So you have that aspect of it for the disruption, but really what you're doing is, number one, you're financially eviscerating the upper and regular middle class and empowering what? The billionaires. They're consolidating power. The big box stores are consolidating.
Banks are taking over everything, buying everything up.
Well, they've also inflated the economy with even more fiat currency with a move towards a cashless society where they're not accepting money in a lot of places and preparing you for that. Now, you've worked out all these people again that were challenging you. We're able to rise up. Maybe that upper middle class guy that's able to start a chain in the last half of his life, you know, and become that thing. That's not really here anymore, and it's not going to be if they keep doing this. But what you will have is a bunch of people that want that universal basic income. And you know what's paralleling with this as we talk about an automation nation and moving people out of jobs?
Techno-feudalism.
Well, you saw Musk this week, didn't you? With the brain chips and the pigs.
Yeah, he's got the Neuralink coming soon,
dude.
Well, I've also saw that they're man, I don't know who tweeted, but they're talking about, you know, building people work for companies where everything is provided in their life. Like, they have the home, the food, like the apartment, all that stuff is part of that job. I mean, like, it's a techno-feudalism. That's what we're pushing towards. That's what they want. They want the kings and the queens and the lords, the people who police them, which will be private security firms, and then the plebs who do all the work and then live in cattle ranches that are supposed to look nice or whatever.
Well, that's whoever they let keep around. But again, the transhumanist movement is here. I mean, if you see what the operation is, they have a robot that is going to be weaving that thing into your skull. So it literally, you sit down. Have you seen the robot device? Oh, you're gonna love this. We do it live. Thumbs it up, subscribe, and share. We haven't talked any mixed martial arts.
I got to see a robot on Purdue campus delivering sandwiches.
Oh yeah, tell that story while I look this up. Tell the.
So I'll hopefully have this video up tomorrow or Wednesday, but I did a walk and talk with Mo, and while we were going, I saw a robot on campus with 6 wheels going by, and yeah, he's like, yeah, they have those now. You can order food from the union and it'll come and deliver it to you. And I was like, oh, wow. I was like, next thing you know, it's going to have a minigun on the top of it. And if you're not compliant with your mask, it's going to unload some rounds in you. And I was like, thanks, DARPA. And yeah, it all starts with a sandwich. It all starts with a sandwich.
It all starts with a sandwich here. Well, I mean, they've got the social distancing drones. They didn't bring Spot the DARPA robot here, but listen. This is it right here. You ready, John? So he was selling it. Oh, you know, they'll do this in an hour. You'll be able to come in the morning, and then in the afternoon, you'll be able to leave. So as you can see it behind me, you kind of sit down, and this is where your head goes, right in the top. Let's scroll much further down. That's a really good look at it. And it's going to cut a circle out of your head, okay? It's going to take that off. It's going to take the chip, which is going to fit right here behind your ear, and then it's going to sew the threads into your brain, and then it's going to take the skull that it took off, and then it's going to reinsert it.
So how successful is this chip?
Let me explain
Like
something to you,
they're
John.
already developing the way to put it in you?
No, John.
Are they putting the cart before the horse here?
John.
Or
John, brother, listen, man. I'm going to tell you this right now, and this is 100,000 motherfucking %. Okay? We will do it live. All right? This is not his baby. They have been doing this for decades. This is a DARPA project. He is a DARPA frontman. Let me show you right now. DARPA, okay? Human brain interfaces. Now, forget about all this stuff. You can just go to papers on this thing. Let's go to more. Man, I had literally.
It's kind of one of my conspiracy theories about all these big tech companies that are monopolies. Like they became powerful because of the government created them.
Well, a lot of them are backed.
They got the technology and the funding from the government, and that's why they won't reel them in, because they're the ones who created them. They want them to have these monopolies.
Listen, these human brain interfaces have literally been successful in paralysis victims that could not speak. Like, remember One by Metallica? Remember that? The guy that couldn't communicate? They experimented on people in the 50s where they put brain chips in them then. All right, then. And they were able to control keyboards with their mind and communicate with the doctors as the doctors spoke with them. This is a literally immobile 100% vegetable, and their mind was still working, and they had that brain interface then. Elon Musk is launching what? Starlink. Okay, let me show you right now how that... And by the way, here's the thing. DARPA has human brain interfaces right now where you don't put them on your in your fucking brain. You just wear a helmet and you can control drones. All right? That exists. I did videos on that. So let's go with DARPA, and now we're going to type in Starlink. So at the same time that Elon Musk, okay, is launching what? His Starlink. Look at this. It's so weird. DARPA is about to launch a military version of SpaceX's Starlink. This is May of this year. This is all coinciding. This is the control grid, brother. And they're acting like, this thing, it's not going to be hackable. It's going to be fully controllable by the fucking satellite systems they are putting in place right now. That's what this is. Elon Musk ain't your fucking friend. He's not. He's a weird talking guy that gets away with it because they propped him up in the media. He's the guy that created PayPal with Peter Thiel. All right, you got to understand.
It's very plausible too that he's a stooge that doesn't even know their intention.
Oh, he knows. He fucking knows. Oh, no, there's no stooge about it, dude. This fucking guy knows. He fucking knows, dude. He's just the cool guy. He's not like Dr. Evil Bezos. Listen, man, you know how we talked about Schmidt taking over New York and Bill and Melinda Gates, right? We talked about Bloomberg in the contact tracing service. Well, guess what? Guess who the new guy who's moving in is? Bezos. Another billionaire. He's taken up 3,500 of these rental properties that are gone in New York now, and he's coming in. So, yeah, this is it, dude. This is the digital takeover of the predator class. They want to sell you on it. Dude, your kids are, a little like mine. You know how hardcore they're going to sell this to them? Like, we can't even imagine it. And DARPA, I would say this. I know you're a reader. I know you like to read the books. And I think there's even an audiobook of this. You need to listen to The Pentagon's Brain, I think it is, by Annie Jacobson, the same one that did Area 51. She's done incredible work on DARPA. Or just watch some of her fucking interviews about DARPA on her book tour. It will scare the shit out of you. DARPA is, dude, they are what's really going on. That's the other thing. No matter whether Trump or Biden gets in, sure, Biden might accelerate it, and hopefully Trump will fucking will push back a little bit. Who knows where we're at? But the bottom line is this is a transhumanist agenda that's pushing forward, man. That's what this is about. But you think Bill Gates likes human beings? Do you think that's like he's a people person? Does he strike you as a fucking people person, John?
Oh man. Yeah, that's why he's always trying to get rid of more people. He's trying to reduce the population.
Yeah, because he's a people person. Exactly. So did you catch any of the fights while you were out there at all?
I saw some of the highlights. I didn't. We didn't get to see the actual fight, so I kind of even forgot they were happening.
The undercard was great, and then Neil Magny handled his business against Robbie Lawler. It's not that
I figured he would just overwhelm him and smother him.
He just
because he's high output. He's very high output.
He looked great. Listen, I like Neil Magny. When he puts it together, he puts it together. Let's see how he does. I'd like to see him against a guy from 5 to 10 in that division. I think that's where you need to put him. Robbie has had one of the most amazing careers in MMA. He's a veteran. Who knows where it's up to Lawler. It's not like he got the shit kicked out of him. It's not like he got brutally KO'd. We're talking about a decision loss here. And like you said, especially in this game, if the guy wants to fight, let him fight. And then you had Anthony Smith, who just took a piss pounding, which was weird because it wasn't even a 5-round piss pounding. They had a 3-round main event. I don't know if that's because they had a quick turnaround time on fight night or whatnot. But, Anthony Smith said it himself. He's got to think about what he wants to do next. And he probably does. Some people almost reach that mountain, right? They have that run towards a title. I've seen it time and time again in MMA. They have that run towards that title. And then for some reason, after they get beat in that title shot, maybe they win one more, but then they start losing. And they're dropping 3 out of 5 or even worse.
Well, it's because, unless they like you and they really want to put you in a position, they want you to have the title. Like after you fight for the title, well, now you're the guy that they want all the other guys they want to have title shots to beat up because they have to legitimize the title shots.
So you just think after you fight for the title, competition at the time,
your competition goes way up. Like everybody's a killer after that. You're not getting any free rides after a title shot.
Yeah, but there are some guys that have maintained. I would say people like Eddie Alvarez, Michael Chandler. They've never, they've reached that mountain or come close, etc. Pitbull's another great, Patrici and Patricio.
Some guys are elite, and they, even though they dropped the title, they're still in that 1, 2, 3 place. They still aren't any further down. It's just, it's a matter of inches or centimeters for them to beat the guy the next time or whatever.
So I guess,
but there's always heavy politics. There's always heavy politics. So if you fought some guy found his way to the title and they're like, we don't think he'd make a good champ. Like they're not really gonna be nice in any way. But there are some guys who are company guys and or they sell a lot, and they'll give them more opportunities. They'll give them more opportunities to win and showcase, get highlight reel type finished stuff.
So
because it's pro wrestling without the predetermined outcomes, folks. If they can set a guy up to get beat up real bad, they will, because people like to see it.
Let's see. All right. So that being said, do you think that Alistair Overeem at number 6 right now, he's fighting a number 9 guy, can he make a run and win the title? Because it feels like he's had those title shots before in the UFC. It's the only place that he really didn't get his belt. He had it in Dream. He had it.
100%. I think he's in a position where they would let him fight for another title. They would let him fight for a title because he's older. He's not going to be around and give him a bunch of trouble, and they already pay him a shitload of money. Like he's already earning close to $1 million a fight.
Sometimes more. Overeem does some good turnaround, but he's a draw. I'll say this, and he's been around. Forever.
And people love him. People love him. So like, it's a no. If as a promoter, that's a no lose. Like, let's throw him up there. Let's let him fight for the title. Yeah.
So I don't think beating Sakai obviously gets him there. I think that if he can pull this one together, he has to beat a Derek Lewis. He has to beat a Ngannou. He's got to beat. I mean, I don't think Daniel's going to be fighting, but he's got to beat one of those 2 guys before he gets in there and gets that title shot against Stipe. He knocks Stipe down.
But if they don't have anybody else for him to fight, who else is? Unless Stipe is going to fight Jones soon, Like, who's the next guy Stipe is going to fight? He already beat Nagao. So, like, he's already pushing back on that. He's like, why? I already beat him once.
Well, I would say this, too. If you look at this, if he beats Sakai, he can just kind of sit around. Ngannou gets the next shot at Stipe, right? And then all of a sudden, Ngannou gets injured in that Vitor Belfort kind of John Jones title shot way. That could definitely, it could be justified as him stepping in as a replacement short term against one of these guys. And with the heavyweights, that's not out of the question. You know, Ngannou's going to have to train hard if he thinks he's going to beat Stipe, because Stipe really just outclassed him the last time. He was able to absorb the storm. Anytime he was in trouble, he was able to fucking close the distance. And then when he needed to fucking push off, he was good. He had better wrestling. You know, Stipe played that fight amazingly, and it's not like he walked away unscathed. He took some big shots. You know, Stipe's a legit heavyweight and has been for some time. What do you think? I mean, do you think that now Stipe is pretty much the best UFC heavyweight champion we've ever seen, or you think that the division's just a little too thin to say that at this point? What do you think?
No, I mean, Stipe's the best. I mean, seriously, if you could take anybody else at their peak and let him fight Stipe, I still think Stipe's got a very heavy chance of winning those fights. You know, I mean, maybe old school Coleman bowls through him, takes him down, and headbutts him to death. But yeah, I mean, Stipe is really good. He's good. He can wrestle. He can strike. He's tough. Got good cardio. Hits hard. It's a nightmare.
I agree. And he's not, he's not one of those huge monster heavyweights. I think he came in like super light.
The biggest thing that's going to hold him back from people saying that he's the greatest ever is him not being a clown like all the other guys are today. Yeah, he doesn't speak it out enough. He doesn't say enough stuff. He doesn't, you know what I mean? He's not playing that role up. Like it would have passed a long time ago when like Fedor, he was popular just because of his skill and what he did in the cage. But I think those days are kind of gone. You gotta have some kind of gab or some kind of gifted gab or some kind of nonsense.
Unfortunately,
some kind of clown show.
But the thing was, at the time, that the clown show about Fedor was, you looked at the guy and it looked like he could have been your high school janitor, and he was sitting there against the biggest dude. And then
a lot of it too was that he didn't just dominate the whole fight. There were moments in a lot of his fights where he almost lost.
Yeah,
he got hit and stumbled and wobbled. He got suplexed by Randleman that one time. Yep. But then he's kept coming and ended up smashing the guy.
Who was it?
Even
Fujita
the fight with Arlovsky, he was kind of losing to Arlovsky at the beginning, and then Arlovsky jumps in the air and he dink.
That affliction fight, yeah. He looked like there were times when he looked like a straight stud, like when Tim Sylvia had just left the UFC in that first affliction fight, and he just put it on him really quick. But yeah, that was a lot of the appeal. Also, just the looping punches. If you were really a fan at the time and you were watching his brother,
the judo throws.
Oh, great stuff. Yeah. But also Alexander, his brother, was another one of those fighters that was really fun to watch. Like basically an out and out fucking striker or kickboxer. Maybe a little bit of clinch work, maybe some shots, but you were basically getting in there to tear it up against these guys. And that's what made them great and bangers. And I'll always remember those fights, man. Those fights are some of the hardest to forget. When I think of banger fights in the end of that era, another one I really think about is Dan Henderson versus Vanderlei. When Vanderlei was in those banger fights, I mean, I long for those days, but we kind of romanticize them, but still, Fedor in his prime.
Yeah, a lot of them were kind of gassed up. It's a little.
Oh, bro.
It's a little, yeah.
I watched
chemical advantages going on.
Well, DAZN finally has live MMA again. Okay, so they got the European and the Eastern European, and Poland has KSW. And by the way, they've got crowds. They're not forcing masks. They're doing what looks like social distancing until somebody wins, and then 20 dudes run over to the guy.
Yeah.
But I was going to ask you, did you catch any of the brainwashing event of the year at the VMAs yesterday?
I gave up on the VMAs ages ago.
Well,
they're the most awful. The Hollywood and entertainment industry can't take a hit fast enough.
Well, one of the reasons I wanted to watch this,
it's just they're so insufferable. It's just
it's hard. It was terrible, but
cringe.
I wanted to watch it because number one, Cuomo had exempt all the people to come to New York City from his quarantine rules.
Yep.
And number two, I wanted to see how much propaganda with the masks we would really see. And it did not fail, dude.
Oh, man.
There was
so they're up there on stage giving an acceptance speech with a freaking mask on. Nobody else is around them for 20 feet, and they're still doing this shit?
Dude,
this makes me not respect you so much because you think I'm stupid. Like, which makes me think you're really stupid. Right? So, like, just stop it. Just stop insulting my intelligence. I'm not going to go along with anything you say. I'm not going to support any of your projects. I don't want to listen to anything. I'd rather sit in silence and watch nothing than have some idiot pretend like that matters. Like you're at an award show with nobody around you. Get fucking real.
Well,
stop. Just stop.
They did it even worse. So what they did was they had all these cars they were selling.
It's like we're watching it through a Zoom meeting and we're in the audience and we're putting our mask on. Oh, I'm doing my part.
So
dumbass.
They basically took all these cars they were selling in commercials, right? And that, remember, now the new thing is concerts in your car, the drive-up concerts. So they had the spread out cars, and they had 4 to a car, and everybody in the car had to mask up as well. And then all the backup singers always had to have
mask up in your car.
Yes. Exactly.
I would like to see, okay, like I had this conversation with a number of people too. Like I'm saying, I don't know about masks. I don't know yes or no. I don't know if they work, what the effect is on them, because I don't see any evidence or reports that show me that they work. Like, shouldn't there be something that everybody can point to and be like, see, look, this is the thing that proves that these things are working. That doesn't exist. Why? Like, I would love to believe that, hey, if I put the mask on, like, nothing's going to happen. It's impossible for virus or disease or anything to get out or get in. Awesome. That sounds great. Where's the evidence that shows that that's true? Oh, listen to the experts. Well, what experts have evidence? What are their experts? Where do they get their expertise on masks? I'd like to know. Like, the internet exists. We should be able to search it up. Efficacy of masks. Do they work? Like, there should be, boom. Everybody has seen this article. Everybody has seen this video. Everybody's seen this demonstration.
Yeah.
Where is it?
John, again, we're in the bizarro world. See, that's the thing, man. That I don't know. I don't know about you, but like I don't sleep well lately. And especially like
sleep like a baby. I got guns.
Fuck you.
Allegedly.
But you also
I might have lost him in a boating accident.
You know what though? I'll say this. You're in much better physical condition. There's no doubt that physical condition is good for your mental condition. You know, and
yes.
Especially, you know, training for a fight, you're able to deal with more stress.
Well, martial arts, putting yourself in adversity on a regular. You know, every time you work out, you're putting yourself in an adverse situation. You have to battle yourself through it. That's extremely good for your mental health. Absolutely.
I agree. I keep making excuses. There are no excuses at this point. As long as I can make things happen with this fucking place and get this move on, I'll have a month to do something and try to work out. But I'm stressing, man. Like, I'm actually having the Nazis come to my town and go door to door fucking with this shit. It's unbelievable, man. And, you know, it is wild. It's the wildest thing. And now you can't be sick. And think about this. If someone had told you when we started this program.
Everybody looks at you funny. It's like, no, I smoke weed. No.
Yeah. If someone had said to you, John, when we first started this program, in a year, John, everything's going to be shut down for virus outbreaks that 300 plus people get and no one even goes to the hospital, and then they're going to send people to your house to trace you would have said, Jason, I don't know if mixed martial mindset's going to work out. We might not be able to do this podcast.
It's just, I don't know, man.
Oh, bro.
So what else happened with the VMAs?
Oh, dude. So basically, it was a Biden fest. It was a BLM fest. Everything was pretty much.
Oh, so there was a lot of diversity of opinion. Great.
Bro, again.
Because everybody thinks the same about everything. Dummy.
Dude, it was a big push to get these people to vote, right? And like the Zoom thing was pushed. The mask thing was, of course, pushed. BLM was pushed. And obviously the unbelievable commercialism of everything. You know, Lady Gaga did some semi-occultic stuff, but I'll say this. At least she sung her songs under the mask. She was one of the few people. It's just, listen, you're not wrong.
They probably loved the mask. They made it easier for him to lip sync everything.
Well, no, because the main people weren't wearing them. Only Lady Gaga, the person who actually sung her song. And I think she did one with Ariana Grande in the beginning. But Gaga basically had these custom masks that went around her face. So, like, they weren't actually blocking her mouth. You know, they were like these weird wired things. Dude, again, it's Bizarro World every day. I got another podcast coming up, that Union of the Unwanted. John, you got to join us in 2 weeks. Actually, in 2 weeks, you're fighting. So, no, it'll be after the fight. It'll be after you beat.
After the fight.
Yeah, it'll be after you beat Neiman
I'll get back
Gracie.
on Sunday or whatever.
Yeah.
But hey, I want to say something real quick about something nobody's talking about. Okay, the Chadwick, the guy died from the Black Panther. Right, great actor. He's been in a lot of stuff, and it's sad. But the thing nobody's talking about, you know, they're all talking about how it's amazing how he did all these roles and he did all this stuff when he was battling his colon cancer and whatever. And a lot of his roles were like action movies where he's jacked. And I'm like, well, yeah, he was doing all these roles and doing all this stuff, but like there needs to be maybe some discussion about drug use in Hollywood, growth hormone, testosterone. Like if this guy might have been killed because he used those things to get big for his movie roles.
Do you think that? Because you know what?
It's possible. Like it's a possibility because if you already had something, if you already have some kind of growth or whatever, and you're taking growth hormone, that's only going to accelerate the growth of whatever that tumor, whatever that thing is. That's why, you know, you have Barry Bonds goes from whatever hat size to a bigger hat size much later. His shoe size increased. Everything grows. So, and these guys are using mass amounts in a short period of time. They've got to put on 30 pounds in like 2 months. I mean, I don't know if I'm out of line to even bring it up, but it seems like maybe there should be a little bit of scrutiny put around the situation.
I don't think it's out of line to bring it up. I think it's tough, number one, because now we're talking about a multi-billion-dollar industry again. You know, when UFC just got to that level.
And it's a part of the job, and it's accepted as a part of the job. But like, I don't think fans understand what a lot of these actors go through physically to like meet that physical appearance of those roles.
Oh, dude, like Hugh Jackman isn't ripped like Wolverine because Wolverine exists, guys. I mean, that guy was a 50-year-old man at the end, really busting his ass and probably on every type of super sauce they could figure out for him. No doubt about it.
And I'm not saying these guys aren't working hard. Yeah. Like they still have to do the work to like put on the size. You can't just take a magic pill and be like, oh, I'm Hercules now. But like, I'm talking about the negative side effects that can happen to them that they're never talked about. And then the fans are never brought in on it. They're never let to know like, oh, look at this body transformation that him getting ready for his role. Look at Ryan Reynolds' body transformation. And you know, he did it in 3 months and 2 months. And look how much weight he put on, 20 pounds of muscle on. You're like, it puts a really like unrealistic,
Oh, we lost you. Lost your audio.
You got me now?
No, yeah, you're good. You got to tape that XLR thing in there.
Yeah.
Get some duct tape.
Yeah, so I mean, I don't know. I just think there's a lot of people talking about it, but nobody. That's something that's not ever brought up.
Well, I would say this again. What are you hearing all the time? Rest in peace, King, or no, rest in power, King, not peace. And I did a whole rant about that because I just don't like how we now value power over peace when, you know, it's what we should have all be striving for, peace and love and harmony amongst one another, and especially at the end of your life.
That's what all this about. People just want power.
I know. Well, you know what? If I had more time, we could go into it more. This is Mixed Martial Mindset, everybody. We do it live every Monday at least. We try to remember, guys, I'm fully demonetized on this platform. This is the last day of Burmese Brigade Media Month 14. We're going to be Media Month 15 tomorrow, which is pretty awesome. I mean, I've been doing this now almost a year and a half independently with your guys' help. Demonetized almost 5 months ago now. And without you, I couldn't do it. I want to thank you for that. Both John and I are on rockfin.com. If they do kick me off this platform, that's where I will be posting everything. Remember, you can sign up for a free account and follow both of us, or you can endorse one of us, and then you get everybody's premium content, which is outstanding. All my documentary films, they are free in the documentaries playlist section right here. Shade the Motion Picture, Invisible Empire, A New World Order Defined, Fabled Enemies, and Loose Change Final Cut. Everything John Fitch is at johnfitch.net, including the Weight Cut Bible, and I believe Fitch Yo Neck is up there as well.
Well, you can get those things through the email list, but I also have them available on Gumroad for free. People can donate if they want to. I have Fitch Your Neck, and I also have the kids wrestling course. The resistance bands training course will be coming up pretty soon. Hopefully this week, maybe next week, but soon. And yeah, those are the free, but you can throw a little change. I've had people put $2 or $5 down for it.
Excelente. And you can listen to this podcast if you want the audio version over at thegruelingtruth.com starting tomorrow and every week. Fitch, thank you so much. Man, I'm really looking forward to seeing you back in the cage, and you look great. You sound great. It sounds like you're great mentally. Let's take it to this Gracie bastard, huh? I'm kidding. I love the Gracies.
Let's get it.
Hands up.
Yeah, it's going to be a good one, man.
Yeah, no, it's exciting. I'm excited, brother. All right, guys, we'll be back on. Wait, actually, so next week you'll be on the road, right? So maybe
I will be in Connecticut. Well, we could try. We'll see if I'm in my hotel room by 6 or whatever that day. We'll play by ear.
All right, sounds good.
But I'll have my gear at least. It might be Wi-Fi connection, but I'll bring my gear.
Hey, we'll do what we have to. We do it live here. All right, guys.
I have a USB mic. I'll bring with me and whatever.
Yeah, I got a little one too if you need one. All right, brother. Later on, Fitch. Later on, guys. Thank you.
Later, dudes.